More than a that, more than a that.
Join the More Than a Dad family by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for daily questions, motivation, dad jokes, and new dad tips. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to like, comment, and share our content with other parents. Last but not least, make sure you check out our new merch. The link is in the bio of our Instagram as well as the description of this YouTube video. We are truly grateful and thanks for supporting More Than a Dad. Welcome to More Than a Dad podcast. I'm your host, Lou Mobley. I'm joined by the coolest guy on earth, Dre Moore. Oh man, we got one of my high school teammates in the building, man. Somebody back from my NG days, man.
What's up?
The Jock, what's up, man?
What's up? Man, not much, man. It's good seeing you.
It's good seeing you too, man. I know we're a dad show and everything, man. I get a lot of angry DMs from the aunties and the uncles and the dog moms and the dog dads, and it's like, yo, can I ever do your show? You know, I'm not a parent. And I'm like, well, you got a dad, right? You can kind of, you know, talk about your dad and how that shaped you as a young adult, right? But you know, let's talk, man. You're an uncle, so how's uncle life?
Well, uncle life, man, it's great because I even though I'm not a father, like I understand the love you have for a child, just how close me and my brother are. So me and my nephew, man, that's my man's right there. He's 2.5, so he's starting to talk. He's starting to understand things, and it's crazy. I was never that close with a child to see him so small. Where I go into the room when he was a baby, and I'm like, does he remember me? Does he know me? To now, he's like, Uncle Mike. So that's something special that I can understand when I have a kid. You know, when I have a kid, that's just a different kind of love you have for them.
No, man. What uncle duties have you got tasked to do that you didn't expect to do?
Nothing too crazy. I mean, my brother tried to get me, change diapers and stuff, but the mom he was more comfortable with that, and I was happy with that too. But I mean, right now it's just nonstop. He wants to play, he wants to run, he wants to show me all this kind of stuff. So it's really, honestly, I'm just acting like a kid too, and I'm just playing with all his toys and playing sports, and it's fun right now for me. So nothing too crazy.
You get the easy stuff. You get to do all the fun stuff.
Right.
Yeah, man. So is that the best part of being an uncle?
I mean, that and just seeing the spin image of my brother and just me and just how he just the mannerisms. It's just crazy how you can see a kid from an infant to now he's just learning stuff and he's acting like my brother, and there's things he looks like me a little. That's what really gets me sometimes.
All right.
Yeah, but you get all sentimental. You know what the best part of being an uncle is? The kids don't go home with you.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta give them back. You know what I mean? So, but I definitely want kids eventually. It's just, I haven't found the right person to do it with, and obviously I've been busy, kind of working a lot, and one day it'll happen when it's meant to be.
No, for sure, man. We want to...
Yeah, he thought that through.
Yeah, definitely don't think with the other head. Think with the head that you thinking with. You know what I mean? We're going to turn this into like a dad homage show, man. I want to talk a lot about like your dad, and like what was it like growing up and what kind of father you had?
Well, my dad, he's an ace, my dad. He worked at UPS 37 years, and mainly he started as like a, boxing the trucks up when he was 18, and then when he was about to have my brother, he really needed to keep that job, and he didn't go to college or anything, but I think he went to a 2-year college, but he just kept working and working because he knew he had to provide, for my mom and my brother, and then eventually me. So I really respect that he did that work. When some people don't want to put in the work like that, he did, and 37 years later he retired, and after he retired, now he's doing construction. So it's like he's just a working type of guy, and I guess I get that from him because sometimes I feel overworked sometimes, but you know, I got to take a break, take a couple of days off, but it's a good quality to get from him. And I'm really glad, like growing up, he showed me, you know, discipline, and, you know, he didn't give me too much, but he gave me exactly what me and my brother needed, you know, to be the men we are now.
No, that's heavy, man. You know, so like you got the life lessons, you know, we always ask people, you know, like there's always opportunity to learn. Like, did you get like credit conversations at home? Did you get how to buy a house at home? Or
Nah, I mean, not really. I mean, my dad, he worked a lot where, you know, he would go to 8 in the morning to like 8 at night sometimes. So, you know, I wouldn't see him that much, you know, but it wasn't a lot of business kind of talk because he was more of like, you know, a a hard worker, you know, and my grandpop, his father was a little bit like that, but no, I really didn't get too much of business talk. It was more of just like hard work and, you know, be a good man, a lot of that kind of stuff, which, you know, I really, you know, helped me.
Right.
do you get the other side too? Like, did he talk about being a good husband? Did he give you the relationship advice too?
You know what? My dad wasn't a good, you know, talker like about like personal things. Like we were always like he always supported me with sports and stuff like that. But he, you know, he really like supported me in a way where he just showed me. So instead of like talking to me, like I saw how he treated my mom, and I saw things that he did, and as a child, you really imitate everything. So like I feel like instead of him like kind of talking to me and telling me, I kind of like he kind of just showed me, or not even showed me. He would just do what he do, you know. And then I would just, you know, as I grew up, I just learned how to respect women and just try to be a good man. Because I mean, obviously, you know, you can't be a perfect person, but you see that kind of stuff from you know growing up, and it definitely helps when you're older. So
at this point, we just waiting to find you a lady.
I had a couple serious relationships, you know, but you know, it didn't work out, and I think, you know, going through things like that just make you stronger, and you know, as I'm 32 now, so as you creep into the 30s, honestly, people start to get worried. They want to have kids,
Right, like,
you know.
is it gonna happen?
Right, yeah, they get a little pressure from their friends, and I see that from some people, and I just sit back and I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm like 25. I mean, age is just a number, so it happens when it happens. And right now, I just got to stay focused on, you know, what's important to me. And right now is like building a life and a career for myself, where when I do have a family, I'm able to provide for them.
Don't worry about it, bro. We're going to shoot this whole More Than a Dad spinoff. It's going to be like More Than a Bachelor. And we're going to have a contest. And we're going to have contestants. And, you know, they're going to be fighting for the love of the jock. We got you, bro.
Yo. Yeah, I mean, I remember we were younger. That'd be on MTV. I'd be watching that. Like, get on there. That's an idea.
Yeah, man. You know, we definitely need that, man. Handsome guy, talented, creative artist. You know, you an easy sell, bro.
Yeah,
you're an easy sell, man. You know, I want to dive into. You said your dad had a battle with cancer.
Yeah, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so that's a cancer of the lymph nodes. And my dad, he doesn't go to the doctors, you know. He don't take medicine. He's just that type of guy where he's like, he has problems, you don't complain. So my aunt and my mom are getting on him about this bump on his neck, and thank God they did, because he finally went and they found the cancer back in August. So he went through a couple months of chemotherapy and then radiation. And now he I think he went like 2 weeks ago, and they said he's cancer free for right now. So that's a blessing.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's great.
Oh man, you said he's back to work already?
He when he was getting his chemotherapy, he would, because actually a neighbor of mine owns a construction company that he works for. He was trying to go do some work for him. My mom just be like, "What are you doing? Like, you got to chill out. You know, you got to get better." But that's just the mentality, you know, he has, where, you know, if I'm not doing something today, I got to find something to do, you know, so.
Man, he ain't doing no sitting around.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. I want to, you got something?
Yeah. My dad was sick when I was 10. He had Guillain-Barré syndrome. I don't even know if people even know what that is.
I definitely know.
It's like a nervous system. It affects your nervous system. So like, it was January. It was cold. I remember it was like snowing, and it was like he went like shoveled the walkway, shoveled the sidewalk and stuff, and then like went to sleep. And the next morning he got up and he got up and he stood up and he fell down. And he just called for my mom, like the craziest panic call. He couldn't stand up, like just overnight. So, you know, the ambulance come, they get him, they take him to the hospital. So we at the hospital, and like it started with his legs until like it worked his way all the way up his body. Like it affected his nervous system all the way up to the point where he couldn't do anything besides shake his head. Like he couldn't talk. He had to get his
whole nervous system.
Right. He had to get his trach put in his neck, right, to feed him. And it was just like I was like 10, bro. So it was just like this, you know, like your dad is like superhero-esque, superhero-ish person. Like, and you know, like my dad was real, like, you know, good with his hands, fix everything. So it's just like to see a person that you look at like that, like be sick is like, it's not easy. True. So like, and he was like he couldn't talk, he couldn't do nothing. We was at the hospital like every day. My mom would pick me up from school. We'd go I still don't go to the hospitals to this day because of it. Like people get sick, they're in the hospital, like I'm not coming to see you. Like I was like traumatized. So like we go to the hospital every day. We be in there. He just be there, laying there. He not saying nothing. He could just nod his head. Like I could say something to him. He just nod his head. Yes, no, and that was really it. Like, and we had like we had a board. They didn't even have like this technology then, like, cause now they got like cards, picture cards and stuff. Right. Before they had that, so we had like a dry erase board. We write something on the board, and then like he could nod yes or no. So it was like nuts. So he was like that that happened in January to May, like just in this state until like he started slowly transitioning to like get better, and then like he went to rehab. And then when he went to rehab and like Paoli, we would go there like every other day. So I just would be in there doing my homework or like it was at the hospital until like he was able to like just come back home, bro. And mind you, at the time, you know, my dad was already old, like get that, so he like 60. Like 60, I'm 10, so he like 62. So in my mind, like I was just like, yo, this is over. Like in my mind, I'm like, yo, I swear it's over. But he came about that joint, bro. It was nuts, bro. It was like crazy.
Did you have that same feeling of like Superman is sick right now? Like when you looked at your dad?
Yeah, definitely. Especially because I never saw him like that. I hardly saw him sick. If he was sick, he'd usually just hide it. So I definitely get that when you don't, you know, as a young kid, you definitely see your dad as like a superhero, and you don't want to see him, you know, hurt or sick, anything like that. So it definitely would shock you. You know what I mean?
It's crazy. You know, my dad got sick, right? Like, he started having kidney failure, and he already had like, he wasn't like, lungs wasn't like getting 100% oxygen. He's like giving himself monoxide poison sometimes. It went in the filter. And I remember like, similar to your dad, like my dad started to like trip and fall a lot or like fall. And I'm like you talking about like you watching a giant fall, like he like the man, like, you know what I mean? He's the guy. Like you don't see Superman on his knees, like he's Superman, you know what I mean? And I'm like, and I just remember like just being taken back, like this is surreal. Like I'm watching my hero down right now, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think that visually that did something to me too, man. I don't like hospitals for the same reasons.
It changed you. Yeah, it changed. Like it just changed. Like it just scar you, bro. Like it changed you. You know what I'm saying? And then like after that, like my dad done that. He had battles with, like I just felt like my dad couldn't die, bro. To be honest, because like he had prostate cancer like twice. Like he just went through like all of this stuff, and I'm just like, yo, like you just can't die.
He was Superman.
Right, like I'm like you would just survive, and like man, people like catch the common cold, and like I'm like he just was going through like the craziest stuff, but it's just like
That's how Daddy was. Daddy had friends like, yeah, man, my man had the flu and he just wasn't here no more. Like
yeah, like
it's
it'd
crazy.
it'd be nuts, but it's definitely a lot. Like when you see your parents sick, it's just like, you know, it changed you. You know what I'm saying? Because like you know, like because you know why? Because especially like sick like that, like cancer or something really like that, because like our whole lives, our parents take care of us. Like we so used to that. We so used to like your parent doing for you. So then it turns around to a point where it's like you can't do it, and like now I gotta do, you know, for you. It's like role reversal. So it just, you know, like it changes the way you even look at stuff.
And this is like current time. You said that was August,
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
it's like
August.
fresh.
So yeah, this is pretty recent.
and he's doing good now.
He's doing real good. Yeah, he helped me keeping him busy too before he went back to work. He's back now, but before, you know, he helped me opening this new spot that I'm opening for the new location for the tattoo studio. And he likes fixing, building stuff. So whatever I need, you know, he's always usually, yeah, let me do that project for you. I'm like, go ahead. Yeah.
You know, stop.
Oh man, let's get it. Do you remember my dad being at all the practices and stuff like that?
Vaguely, I do remember.
Yeah,
No.
my dad used to pull up with Sasha, my niece. They sit out there and watch us practice every day at Newman on 26th Street.
20, yeah, right on 26th Street. I do remember that, right?
Yeah. But yeah, man, I want to get into, you know, how you became a tattoo artist and like your journey, and you know, let's get into it.
Well, obviously, you know, we met in high school, played football. Senior year, great year. Probably the best year I ever had in football. So that kind of led me to actually playing in college. And at the time, I was kind of getting back into art. I did it when I was a kid. I love cartoons and comic books, and I would just like recreate them on paper and try to copy them. You know what I mean? So I didn't really get serious until a little after high school. And the college I went to, Delaware Valley, it's an agriculture school. They didn't have an art program, but, you know, Mark Hattie, Joey G, they were going, and they wanted, the recruiters wanted me to go, so I decided to go. Now, football was awesome, but the school part I just was not into. I was majoring. I was actually ironically majoring in business, but they were giving, you know, you take your standard classes, and I wasn't 100% in. And it was actually my dad that kind of came to me and was like, listen, like, I know you love football, but, you know, you got to take school serious. And if you're not, then he was like, I suggest you thinking of something, doing else. Like, don't drop out, but you're going to have to not do what you're doing right now. So I took his advice, and it was hard to give up football, but, you know, I gave it up, and it worked out for me in the end. So after I did that, I kind of was just working at a bar and still doing my art thing, but didn't know what I wanted to do. And tattoos were just becoming more popular, and I saw a couple of our friends in high school, they were getting them, and I got my first one, I think, like junior year, and it just amazed me how, you know, the art that I was into, like, you can do that and apply it to skin. It was just amazing to me. So, and it was just a mystery of how do you get into this? Like, there's no school, there's no, like, how do you do this? So it was basically just a guy that I was getting tattooed from. A lot of people from South Philly were getting tattooed by him, Danny Kraft. He's actually tatting in Jersey, but I would just pick his mind about, you know, how do you get into this, and ask him questions, very interested in it. And the advice that he would give me, some people just, you know, in one ear out the other. I was absorbing that advice. He was like, you got to expand your portfolio, start drawing in pen and pencil, paint, you know, go to tattoo shops, ask them questions, ask them if they're looking for an apprentice. So I did all that. I started doing all that while I was working at like the bar. And I think I was going to CCP at the time, community college, taking art classes. So I was getting more interested in the technical and the fine kind of art. You know, I can maybe make this out of a career, you know, instead of just doing it for fun. And I think every time I went back to Danny, because then I was starting to work on a sleeve, I would bring him a portfolio, and I would tell him a story about me going to a shop or something. So he was kind of like, all right, this kid is listening to what I'm telling him he's doing. So after he completed the sleeve, I was actually working at the bar one night. My friend Nicky comes up and he shows me a tattoo he just got done by Danny. And he said, Danny mentioned you. And I was like, I haven't seen Danny in a while. This is when I was like 20. I finished the sleeve with Danny and like around 21. And then 23, it was like 2 years later, is when my friend came up to me. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to go talk to Danny. So that week I just went up there. Honestly, just talked to him about maybe getting another tattoo appointment or something. And as soon as I went into the shop, he said, are you still interested in apprenticing? And I really forgot about it. Honestly, I was still doing art, but I forgot about it. But as soon as he said that, I was like, yeah, of course. And he was just like, come in Tuesday. So as soon as he told me that from an artist like that, I was like, wow, like I'm in, for an apprenticeship. I got to put 100% into this. So that's basically how I got into it. It was a lot of persistence and, just taking advice from people,
So how do you learn the safety and the technical? Like, how do you learn, like, if I make a line on you, you really can't erase that right now.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, with anything in life, like you don't stop learning. Like if you stop learning something, that means like you think that you know it all. And if you think you know it all, then you should just quit this game of life because nobody knows it all. And you learn something every day until you're 100 years old. So especially with tattooing, it's the hardest thing I ever had to learn how to do. Every day I do a tattoo, I learn something, new. So it was just something where you got to accept that you're going to be not good. You got to really work hard at it, to get better. And, it just started off with me, drawing every day that I went in. And there was a point where he was like, draw 100 barcodes. And I was like, for real? He's like, yeah, you got to like train yourself to get, straight lines and stuff like that. So once I got off the drawing, I went on like pigskin. You got to practice on pigskin, grapefruits, and then eventually my cousin, and then your friends. And then it just, it took me 2 years to apprentice and then finally become a tattoo artist. And I was working at Jersey at that time when I did the apprenticeship.
So how did you convince somebody to let you like the first person you tattooed? How did you convince them to do it?
Surprisingly enough, I mean, you may know people that been tattooed at a house. I mean,
Right.
A lot of people, they're willing. They're willing if they see that you're good at art, and there's people that has no tattoo experience. They'll let them tattoo. They'll get a tattoo from you. People if it's free, they want it, So it was actually my cousin though. And, I felt really comfortable because I knew him. I didn't want to do a stranger and he was down with it. He knew, it was just words. My first one, I was super nervous, shaking. Your first couple tattoos are nerve wracking, but yeah, it's after my cousin and after people knew that I was apprenticing, especially under a well-known artist, people were eager, to let me tattoo them to start off. And that was good practice for me.
That's what's up.
Now, so you become a tattoo artist. What's next? You just find a shop, or
Well,
you get a certificate? You get certified? You get licensed? You get
yeah. Well, in Jersey is where I apprentice is different. You need 2,000 hours worth of an apprenticeship to get your license. In Philadelphia, it's 3 years, so it's a little different. So when I was in Jersey, I worked actually at DNA, which is in Williamstown, apprenticed there for 2 years, and then I worked at Jersey Devil, which is in Blackwood, and that's more of like a street shop, old school tattoo shop, which I learned a lot, walk-ins and just crazy people coming in there. But after Jersey, I'm always thinking in my head that my clientele is from Philadelphia. I mean, it's how South Philly is. Everybody knows everybody, and I kind of just knew I had to go to Philadelphia, to work, and that's where I wanted to be. So me not knowing all the legal part of it, the city and the zoning and stuff like that, I'm like, I'm just going to go work at a shop in Philly, or maybe I can open my own shop. And come to find out, they won't even give me a Philadelphia body art, certificate, an artist certificate, because the 2,000 hours don't equate to the 3 years. So it was a lot of technicalities, and that was another thing I was being persistent about. I got an affidavit written by the guy that taught me. I was getting witnesses and all the paperwork of all the people I tattooed for how many years it was, just to convince like the health department of Philadelphia, that I'm more than qualified to have a tattoo artist license. I've been at the time, I had like 5 years experience, and they just like discredited the 2 years of my apprenticeship because it was only 2,000 hours. But I was persistent, and I finally got an email. I talked to my supervisor. We're going to grant you the certificate, which was great news for me. So after I got licensed in Philly, it was either work at a shop or open my own. And I don't like having bosses. So my idea was like, I want to open my own. And that was a whole nother battle.
So how do you clock the hours? Like, are they clocking the hours like you was in the shop, or are they clocking the hours like you spent tattooing somebody? Like, how would you even count that?
Yeah, like the apprenticeship, I wasn't, like I said, I started off just drawing.
Right, drawing and doing stuff.
So basically it was just like, I would go in 4 days a week, like 7 hours a day.
Oh, so they was just counting it by the time you was there. They wasn't saying like, oh, you spent an hour doing this tattoo or 2 hours. Like, you could have just been sitting in the shop.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, all right.
No, let's talk about your battle of opening up a shop.
Yeah, I mean, Philadelphia, I get it. Like the regulations, they have to do that, but a lot of it's outdated. Philly's a kind of, a lot of their laws and stuff are very old. I mean, it's an old city. But when I came to Philly to open the shop, I find out that you have to get a use variance or a special exception just to do body art. And if you don't know zoning, each business you open up has a different commercial zoning to it. And body art, for some reason, is in the same category as gun shops, strip clubs, like stuff like that. They put body art with, and understandably, 25 years ago, 35 years ago, maybe, but like now, it's a accepted art form. So, although it's outdated, I have a hard time understanding that. So, it was just kind of tough, going through a lot of zoning, a lot of money, a lot of time, just to get a building zoned. And before you get a building zoned, you obviously have to sign a lease. And that was a whole another thing, is getting a proper spot to open, a successful tattoo shop, especially as the first time I'm ever doing it. I got to pick a name, got to get the logo, got to get everything set up. There's a lot to it. And a lot of people that want to open their own business or run their own, career and stuff like that. Once you get it, like, it's hard to get it. But then once you get it, it's going to get way harder. You're going to have a lot more responsibility, a lot more hard work. And people really don't get that. They figure, when I got my tattoo shop, they're like, oh, you made it. You're good. I'm like, no, I'm 10 times more busy, and I got a lot more, things to take care of, that instead of just like enjoying. It is enjoyment. I'm blessed, but it's a lot more work once you get it.
Yeah, maintaining the business, the back end.
Right.
The whole shop itself, along with learning to still be a better artist, doing quality work. Yes,
That's hard.
So where are we at now in this process?
So I was at once I opened the shop on 4th Street. It was like 4th and Catherine. Back in 2019, I opened up, and I was there for 3 years, and I just decided I need a bigger space, and I just wanted a change of pace, and my lease was up anyway, so I'm on Passyunk Avenue now, and now I'm dealing with like the change of address, with the zoning and the health department is tough, so that's what I'm kind of dealing with right now, is all the technicalities, but I'm pretty much moved in, ready to go. I just,
It's a bigger space?
Yeah. And I also got another artist. She was my apprentice, and now she's really getting a book together. She's doing really, really well. And that was the first time I ever had to teach somebody, which I enjoyed, and I'm kind of thinking about getting another apprentice, and almost like I'm giving somebody a career and teaching them something. So that's working out pretty good. And I do have enough more space for another artist.
And plus, that's bringing more people in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's appointment only, but I like it like that. It's an experience too. Like, I got the TV, I got music. You want something to drink. I'll order you food. It's like an experience. You're coming for hours. You're going to be in some pain.
Right.
I want you
to make
to
you feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's dope. And it's where at on Passyunk Avenue?
It's 1800 Passyunk Avenue. So it's like, it's right in the middle.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a good spot. I'm blessed. There's a lot of people that are excited for it. So am I.
I'm excited too, man. You know, where do you see you as an artist and a businessman in the future? Like, you see it multiple shops. Do you see?
I mean, that's definitely a thought where do I want to go as far as like, Florida, Arizona, Texas, whatever, Dallas, if I want to have another shop that far away, I'm not sure. It's always a thought that I would have. And basically in the future, I kind of want to just help people as much as I can. So I want to start doing seminars for tattoo artists. I want to start doing painting classes for adults, for kids. Because honestly, I like teaching. It's just something I like to do. And I think as like a tattoo shop owner and a respected artist in the city now, I feel like I can teach people something without actually having like a degree as a teacher, If I wanted to be an art teacher, I'd have to go back to school and do all that. But at the same time, I can have independent art classes at my shop. And that's just an idea I always had. So eventually that's something I want to do.
No, that's super dope.
Yeah, that's hard. Giving back.
Where we at? You got like a favorite piece that you've done so far?
I have a lot, but the two that stick out, the one I actually wanted was a portrait of Brian Dawkins, my favorite player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But my friend Jack actually wanted this tattoo, and it's him coming out of the
Doing
tunnel.
the Weapon X thing.
Yeah, and I did it at the 2017. It was a 2018 Philly convention. It was the year they won the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I was doing this Eagles tattoo. It was Brian Dawkins. It came out phenomenal. But like, I got interviewed by CBS News. They were at the convention, so that was pretty dope. And then the one that I won my first award for was at Cherry Hill convention back in September. So they're probably the two that really stick out for me right now.
No, man, I want to talk.
Before we get off the tattoos right quick, what's like the craziest tattoo you've ever had to do? Like,
that's a definitely common question. I mean, I really haven't done too many crazy tattoos. I mean, this guy had I think his wife's name on his hand, and this is when I was working at Jersey Devil, so he was a walk-in, and he comes in and wants it covered up with a void stamp. And I was like, you serious? Is that what you want? And he was like, yeah, void right over a name. That was pretty crazy. I mean,
like, instead of just covering it up,
right.
You had the right void.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You ain't have to tattoo no eyelids or nothing?
Nah,
right.
No eyelids. I mean, I did like sides of the face. I did the neck. But never eyelids. Nothing.
No eyelids, nothing in the mouth, nothing.
Yeah, I've done underlip tattoos.
Right.
And I actually stopped doing them because they fade. And the most common reason, I would always ask people, why are you getting it? Like, why? And a lot of it was like, oh, because I want to hide it from my parents or hide it from so-and-so. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want to do something you're just going to hide, Like,
right. You want
so
to be seen.
I just stopped doing them.
True that.
Have you ever had like a crazy experience where you were tatting somebody and their reaction to being tatted was like really...
Yeah. This one girl was getting her foot tattooed, and she was with a friend. And she was screaming, screaming like, yo, I'm about to stop and tell this girl, like, you got to go. But her friend was like, you just had a child 3 months ago. Why are you yelling like that? And I looked at her. I was like, you just had a baby and you think this is worse? Like, I don't know. She's probably just being extra.
Yeah, sometimes, it's mental. Like, some of that is mental.
Definitely.
Because I don't know if now I got to say something crazy on the pod.
Go ahead, bro.
Yo, listen. So, like, I got this thing about, like needles, right? So, like, I don't like needles. Like, I got all these tattoos. Mm-hmm. But, like, if we go to, like, the nurse or, like, the doctor, like, I really don't want you to stick me with that. So, like, I be in there all the time. Like, I be, like, having to give blood and stuff, right? So, like, I'd be like, yo, chill. So they'd be like, they like, oh, you got these tattoos on your arms and stuff. I'm like, yo, but it's not the same. Like, that's like a little scratchy.
I agree. It's not the same.
Yeah, versus inserting the needle.
Yeah.
So like one time I'm in the ER, right? And I forgot what I was in the ER for. I can't remember. They had an IV in my arm. So the IV is in my arm, and it was like real crowded at HUP this day. I don't know why. So they moved me from like the back room to like the waiting room, but I got the IV on wheels, so like I'm pulling it. So like I'm going from this to this. So like when I sit down, like I sit down and I look at the little IV, and like the blood is coming up the IV. Like it's backwash up the IV. So like the clear stuff that was coming down, now everything is just going out. So I'm like, yo, this joint about to suck all my blood into this bag. So like I'm like, go nurse. I'm calling the nurse, and like before the nurse get there, so she like, oh, so she looking. She like, oh no, it's just got to be backwash. It's just whatever. So as she's doing it, like trying to backwash out, like I already done panic, like it's over, and now I'm about to bleed out. So I passed out. Like right there, bro. I passed out. Had to wake me up. Everything. I'm like, yo, what happened? She's like, oh, you passed out. I'm like, because once I seen all the blood coming back out, I'm like, oh, it's over. Like this, about to drain me. But so like I said, like some of that is just mental. Like that's just like my mental thought of like somebody putting a needle or taking blood out. But like I could go get a tattoo, like 'cause that's nothing. Like that's simple.
I don't even equate them as the same because it's a gun and make all the noise. It's like I don't
See now, I don't know when's the last time you got a tattoo, Lou?
They quiet now.
Yeah. So
like
that's
3 years ago.
I got the machines I use now is a rotary machine, wireless, quiet. It's pretty. The advancements in tattooing is crazy. It's like you're painting pictures on skin now. So it's definitely different, and it hurts less too. The new machines, which is a plus for anybody.
That's a fact. We gotta go get some new tats. We're gonna have to come make some appointments.
Definitely.
No, man, we getting to the end of this, man. I want to ask you one last question. Like, why do you think like father figures are important? You know, dad is important in the house, but I'm sure you had uncles or coaches or other men that influenced you. Why do you think they're important?
Definitely. I mean, I'm blessed. I got a bunch of male figures that were always there for me. Starting with my dad, and then my uncle Michael. He's an oil painter, so I learned a lot from him. That's my dad's brother, and my uncle Johnny is my mom's brother. My uncle Joey's her other brother, and just they just taught me kind of just have respect, for people, and just be a good man. What you put out in the universe, you're gonna get back. And just seeing that, like I said, like a lot of them were kind of like you're more of like manly men, kind of don't have deep conversations, that kind of thing, but they just showed me. And when I observed how they were, like I said, as a young man, you just kind of take from them, imitate them almost.
No, for real, man. We want to we got this game we play here called Documented Quality Time. We get to the end of this. It's kind of like a this or that, and we're gonna do the uncle version.
Right. Yeah, so when you on uncle duties.
So when you on uncle duties, what are you more likely to be caught doing?
Okay.
Right.
Dre got the question.
You more likely to be getting toys thrown at you, or to be kissing a boo boo?
Toys thrown at me.
For sure. Are you be more likely to be teaching them how to sketch, or stopping them from drawing on themselves?
Teaching them how to sketch.
Oh, he ain't gonna draw on himself.
He might. I'll teach him how to sketch on himself.
Are you more likely to be stopping them from climbing over the chairs in the shop, or stopping them from mixing your inks?
Climbing over the chairs at the shop.
Are you more likely to buy them toys or clothes?
Toys.
Toys. All right.
So I get to play with them too.
That's what's up. Are you more likely to be taking them to Dave and Buster's or to Rita's for water ice?
Definitely Dave and Buster's. I would take them to probably Pops on Oregon Avenue for water ice.
Oh, true. I like Pops too. They milkshakes. They got cookies and cream milkshakes.
Oh yeah, their milkshakes are banging.
Milkshakes fire. Yeah.
No, man, we want to thank you for coming on doing the pod, man.
Definitely.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
I appreciate you asking me. I didn't know we spoke probably a year or so ago or a while ago about doing it. And then when you gave me the call the other day, I told you 100%. I was in from before.
You.
Listen, man, people been on my case. I can't do the show because I'm not a dad or a mom or.
I got you. I'm starting it. So.
Right.
Man, we got a trend now. We got the dad homage. We got the uncle on duty.
That's a fact. Man. We appreciate you, bro.
Man, we thank you for coming on doing the show, man. Everybody, make sure you check out our online store. Grab you some More Than a Dad, More Than a Mom merch. I guess we got to put some uncle on duty shirts on there.
Facts. We're going to have to adjust it.
We might have to make some other good apparel. But check us out, man. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, as always.
All right, have a
Till
good
next
one.
time.
More than that. More than that.